So we get a new camera angle that could turn out to be a disaster. Guess we'll see. I'm out here heading towards Julian, California on a nice sunny fall day. Put a couple of additions on the S1000R. We have a couple of blue Rizoma pots. Down there you have the engine guard. And we get the blue levers as well from Pazzo. Just adding a little color to this guy. We have the engine guard on the right side here, and the camshaft cover. Here's a front side look here. I think the blue looks good. A little blue goes a long way. Another touch on the back maybe. There's some light tech chain adjusters in blue or something else to finish it off. I don't go too nuts. But in the meantime, I'm going to try not to knock the camera off of my shoulder. I can see my reflection. I look fucking ridiculous. Like always. Second gear is a playful gear. On public roads, you can just keep it in second the whole time. You so choose. What is that, clay? Blood? What is that stuff? So those Rizoma parts, not exactly the most functional thing. I mean, they do their job. I'm sure there's some protection to the engine, but there's just something about it. It looks a little dinky. It is pretty though. And I'm just gonna freely admit I bought it for the looks. I know. It's not the most respectable thing to do, but I'm human. Especially this black model, it can it's pretty stealth, but it needs a little brightening, if you will. So we perk it up a little bit. Give it a little blue. Got a radiator guard coming in too. From Rad Guards in Australia. Looks like a nice piece. So let's address the radiator guard issue. If it was really that incredibly important to have a radiator guard on there, wouldn't it come from the factory? I mean, if BMW was replacing these things left and right because people were smashing their radiators and they became dysfunctional and unable to cool, wouldn't they just put a guard on there themselves? I think it's a lot of it is paranoia, and then some of it is appearance. And I think I've fallen victim to this whole culture here. Because underlying all this, I'm not sure any of this is really reasonable. I'm inclined to just send the thing back. The only thing that is good about it is that huge, oddly colored, which is a bare metal color, radiator in the front. Doesn't really fit. I know I'm getting on a kick today, and I know I sound like a pansy about the looks and the blue accents and all this stuff, but it's why you buy a motorcycle. I mean, it's a big part of why a lot of people buy a motorcycle. I mean, yeah, it's practical. You can buy one. You can buy a fugly motorcycle for real cheap, and it's great transportation, but When you buy a bike like this, a lot of it has to do with the parents. For most people. The whole thing is just funny because, you know, the motorcycle culture in general tends to be, or at least stereotypically tends to be macho. Even like, you know, the Harley guys in particular, the beards and the, you know, the big leather denim clothing and sleeveless shirts. But all bike owners, not all of them, but Harleys, sport bike riders, a lot of what they do in terms of alterations to their bikes is based upon appearance. So you may laugh at your wife when she goes to look at clothes, or when she wants to decorate the living room for the 16,000th time, or just the couch, or how many outfits can she possibly put on before she leaves the house. And I feel you, but on the flip side, what we're doing to our bikes is the same thing. Just dressing it up. I mean, it's like a doll that you're dressing up. And some people, you know, want to look mean and pissed off. Other people want to look pretty. Whatever it is. It's all the same. Ah, is this the time where I get ahead of this friggin' bodge? What exactly are you anyway? What's that anchor you have in the back? It's like a, literally. It's literally a friggin' anvil in the back of that thing. When's the last time you saw an anvil? Anybody? Anybody? So I'm so paranoid about appearance, I won't get an iPhone mount. Even though it makes complete sense to actually see where you're going. It's a badass. The exact bike from Sons of Anarchy. I gotta say that whenever you see a bike that looks like exactly like a Sons of Anarchy bike, it's a little questionable. Looks like Main Street to me. Like, hopefully you can see some of the bike. I'm gonna get one of those chest cameras. Got a big center nipple sticking out. Need to get away from these people before someone shoots me for looking like a dickhead. You really should see this robotic arm sticking out of the side of my helmet. It's friggin' amazing. I'm in a place called Ramona right now. I call it Old Julian because that's the destination and people know what you're talking about if you're on a motorcycle adventure, but not to ignore the rich history of Ramona, California. The deep culture and rich history of horse shit and rusted roofs. Look at that proboscis sticking out of the side of my face. Oh my god. I really don't even care. $120, that's all I can say. Maybe I'll stick one of them GoPros on my face so it looks less ridiculous. I don't know.